Hello everyone, it is Mr. Shark Spambot here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Shadow Shark reverse shell. Now, I actually developed this reverse shell myself, and it actually works really well and bypasses antivirus programs really well as well. And so, I'm going to first talk about how exactly this bypasses antivirus programs. So, what this shell does is it mimics how a web server would work, and this is really well by first of all using JSON and using a common encryption, and you could choose from either hex or base64. So usually when you think of encryption with a payload, you think you're going to encode the payload, and that's not at all what it's doing. What it's doing is right before sending all the text from each end, it's going to encrypt that text. And it's going to use generic encryptions like hex and base64. Now, base64 is used more by web servers as one of the generic encryptions out there, because some web servers do actually use generic encryptions for sending certain types of things. And so this kind of mimics that a web server is doing one of those things. And also, since it uses JSON with this, which I already said, but I didn't mention that it uses it together. So it uses JSON with this as well. And this is also very, very commonly used by web servers. And because of that, this mimics how a web server would work really well, and therefore it bypasses ABs. And so, by the way, this is for educational purposes and educational purposes only. Do not hack someone who did not give you permission to hack them, okay? So you can actually be sent to jail for that. Do not do that. Stay ethical. So now I'm going to talk about installing this tool. So you could just copy the commands here. It's a very simple install, so I'm just going to, okay, wait, I'm going to go to a different desktop and open my terminal here. I'm going to install this into the LPT directory. So the first thing I need to do is install Python 3 and Git. I already have these installed, but if you don't, this should install it for you. And the second thing to install would be the code itself, and this can be done with the git clone command. And so now I will run this in the terminal here. Oh, whoops, I need to run this with sudo because I'm running this in LPT. I am installing this into the LPT folder. I need to be a super user to do this. Okay, so this is cloned, so now I could change my directory into the Shadow Shark reverse shell. And inside of this, there's going to be a compilation script. So this compiles for Windows. There is the payload itself and shadowshark.py, which is the listener script. And for this to work, you can't just run this with netcat or something. You need to run this with shadowshark.py. It's custom, so it doesn't work with netcat. So first, let me talk about how to configure the Shadow Shark payload. So you could just nano into it, and make this full screen, nano, and so I need to change my IP and the port that I want the connection to be sent back to. So first of all, I'm going to check my IP, and I can do that by using the command IPA. And here we go, this is my IP. So now I'm going to set this as my IP, and I'm going to set my port to 4444, although I don't fully recommend using this because some antiviruses will block this port because this is the default port by Metasploit. And really the default port by any exploitation framework, most antivirus programs will block that by default. So that should be it, and yes, oh, okay. Whoops, I forgot that I need to do this with correct permissions, so with sudo. Okay, now I could redo this, and come down here and set this as the IP and set the port as 1234. Okay, and that should be it. So now if I cat this, everything has been set correctly, as you see right over here. And you can also delete this comment if you want. This is not necessary to be there. So now let me move on how to use the shadowshark.py script. So you could just do Python 3 shadowshark.py, and this will actually show you the usage. And if you want to get a more descriptive description on how to use this, you just do --help or -h. And it's very simple. You just set your L host here, your L port with this option, and you set what encryption you want to use. And again, the encryption is for encrypting the text on each side before you send it, not encrypting the payload itself. So you just run Python 3 shadowshark.py --lhost and then my IP --l port 4444 in my case, and --encryption hex, which is the default encryption. You can use base64 as well. This is base64 supported. You don't need to type all of these out. You could also use just -e for the encryption, --lp for the L port, and --lh for the L host. But anyway, I'm just going to run this, and if you get this message, then this has successfully run on your system. Oh, whoops. Oh, and by the way, I'm not sure if this actually works on Windows and Mac OS. It should still work. On Windows, since the terminal is different, I'm not sure if this color is going to work, but the tool itself should probably still work. Okay, so now I could just send the connection back to myself. And if you want to actually test something like this, you could actually run it on yourself. This won't actually damage your computer. In this case, it's not like some ransomware or whatever, which is going to encrypt all your files and do nefarious stuff. This is just giving me shell access to the machine. It's not necessarily going to damage the system. And whoops. Oh, okay. I think I set my IP as 1234. Okay. But I mean, that's better than just setting it as 4444. This will be automatically blocked. 1234 may also be blocked, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So 1234. Okay, I messed that up by mistake, but this should still run through my screen. And now it should say a TCP connection from the IP of whoever connected to you, the port has been received, and then you should see the directory that you are currently in, and you shouldn't be able to go any more back. And now you can run any command. So I could do ls, I could see everything, I could cat the license, and this is the full license. So even if you cat a huge text file, which is more than just 1 kilobyte or whatever, it'll still be able to display the whole thing without the shell breaking. I could do many things. However, I will not be able to use sudo or su. None of these commands will work with a shell. But you can upgrade the shell, and you could actually run a Python command which you could generate with MSF Venom, and then send you, I think it's called python/meterpreter/reverse TCP, and that'll send you a legitimate shell connection back, well, full Meterpreter connection, and you should be able to do whatever. And after you exit out of that Meterpreter session, you'll still be able to use this shell. I've actually tried that before, and it works perfectly. And if you want, you could just use a netcat shell with you using, okay, let me just search it up. So you could go up here. If you want a full shell, what you could do is you could search up Python reverse shell, and there's pentest monkey. There's a cheat sheet here, and you could go down here, just copy this, and you could go here, you could paste this. Well, actually, I need to, and this is not a legitimate terminal, but see, to bypass antivirus programs, it's getting a lot harder, and spawning back a legitimate shell, that would be easily flagged by antiviruses. So this approach, you need to cut corners, and you won't get like a full shell, but you will still be able to do a lot of things in the system, and you'll be able to upgrade the shell if you want. And if the upgraded shell gets detected, you may still have this shell at least. So that's the whole point of the shell isn't to be super persistent and be able to run every single command like sudo and su. It's just to bypass antivirus programs and just get into a system. And at that point, you can maybe disable the antivirus and then use a legitimate shell to be able to run commands like sudo and su. So I'm actually going to set my IP in this, and so if I paste this command, I can set my IP right over here, and instead of port 1234, because I'm already using this, I can set this to port 4444, and set this to 10.0.2.30. This is my IP. I could copy this now, and I could now paste this here. And although I'm running this on myself, even if you were using this in a remote server, it would work. However, with reverse shells, if you're not on the network of your victim, this won't be able to send a connection back to you unless you actually have like a public IP, which you're using, which somebody can access, anyone on the internet can access, or if you're running this from like a website or something like that, or running this from maybe a cloud machine, and then a connection from anywhere around the world should be able to get sent back to you. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to open up a netcat shell. So netcat -lvnp, I think, and then 4444. This should listen on. Okay, that's correct. And now I think this is correct. This is all correct. So I could run this, and now I have a legitimate shell. So if I run SU, I can actually run SU now. I don't want to authenticate, but even if I exit out of the shell, I will actually get the shell back. So I'll still be able to use the shell now. And so this is not really, this payload is not custom made for Linux, but I can actually make one custom just for Linux right now. So let me just exit out of this quickly and clear my screen. And okay, that stopped already. This, I don't need this anymore. And this, and this. And so I'll just go to Sublime Text, and I'll open up okay, so it open this payload up, and so we don't need to edit this way too much to get this correctly. So this is what a Linux legitimate shell looks like. So let's try to get this, and let's see how we could do that. So we just need to do Python 3. So you can use you can import platform. Oh, sorry, yeah, it's platform actually. And what you could do now is you could run platform.uname. Okay, so we get the node. So this is what should be over here. So platform.uname.node, and we get shark. And to get great white, we could import get pass, and then run get pass get user, and this should give us great white. So now what we could actually do is we could assign these two variables, and if you're familiar with Python, you already know how to do this. If you're not, it's very simple. You just do whatever your variable is. So in this case, I'll name the user is equal to get pass dot get user, and if we do user, we could see this variable has been set. Same thing right over here, and we could make the system, I guess, is equal to platform.uname.node. I guess you could use system name, but it's not much of a big deal. So now you could do, if you could use string concatenation to now add these together, and the @ sign as well, and all of this. So you also need to import OS as well, and you can do os.get cwd. Whoops. And we can get the directory, the current working directory. So we can store this in a variable as well. cwd, which is current working directory, os.get cwd. And so now what we need to do is we need to do user plus, actually this would be easier if I just did this, print, and then user and @ system. And by the way, when you use, okay, I should have put an F here, and if you put an F here, anything inside of these braces or dictionary brackets, if you want to call them that, this will be replaced with a variable, a defined variable, or the value of the defined variable. And this should be colon, and this should be cwd. I think I did this correctly. Okay, and as you see, it says great white at shark colon / opt / shark reverse shell. So the only thing that we're missing here is the $sign, and you can do that here. And now if we print this out, this is perfect. This is how Linux prompt looks like. So now we could actually edit this payload to do the exact same thing here. So the first thing we need to do is come up here, and we already have OS imported. But now import system and get pass. And so right over here where it says if command equal to directory, and it's going to send this, what we could do here instead is, I don't want to do this in one line, so I'll make a variable. So what should I call this? I'll just call this dir or prompt, yes, is equal to, and we could copy all of these. So first the user, which would be get pass.get user, and we could put this inside of a string, and get pass.get user at, and maybe we could just actually define all these variables. This would be easier. So user is equal to get pass.get user. So delete this line for now. And system, where did I define that here? Okay, system is equal to platform.uname.node. Go back here. And now what we could do is cwd is equal to os.get cwd. Okay, and now we could join all of this together, and instead of printing all of this out, we could store this in a variable called prompt, because this is, I guess, the prompt, and I don't know what better variable I could name this, really. Okay, and this should be about it. So we're instead going to send the prompt here. Okay, and oh, okay, great. So, oops. Okay, so now I've saved this file, and now let's actually try exiting this. Oops, exit. So now run Python 3 shadowshark.py -- lhost 0.0.0.0 -- l port. What did I set it to? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? -e hex. Okay, and this is running correctly. So now let's run Python 3 shadowshark payload.py. And okay. Whoops, this is not the system module, the platform module, which, yeah. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, and as you see, this looks a lot more like a legitimate shell. Although this, you still can't run su or sudo in this shell. This still looks a lot better and probably would be a little bit easier to use. And if I actually do, I could go to a different directory. Let's see if it actually updates. So cd ... And yes, this updates and this works correctly. One problem is that this has no color, and you may think that's not a big deal, but if you want to beautify this, you could add some color to this, and I could actually show you how to add some color to this. This isn't really that hard. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to use this as a reference because I do not memorize this. I don't think anybody should be memorizing these. That's really a waste of your time. You could just get an online chart of these. So let's see how this works. So if I go back to my terminal, okay, so this is all green. There's a colon which has normal color, and then there's this directory which is blue, and this is normal color. Okay, so this isn't very complicated. So all I need to do now is first of all copy the blue, and go back here. So now the reason that this obviously needs to be updated because your directory is going to change, and your user, you may somehow be able to get to root, and that may change this, your system name. The user at any time which is using this system can change their system name. You can actually change your system name. There's a Linux command, I believe, to do this. The uname node, you should be able to change this. So this needs to be constantly updated, but these color values do not. So I could just right over here define them here, and these will never change, and that's one of the reasons why they're in uppercase naming style as well. So I'm going to use green here, and I will paste this here. So this is going to be relatively easy. Oh, and I actually also need normal, and that is this one. So now doing this is really simple. So first I just put green here. Whoops, this should be green, and this should be normal, and this should be blue, and this should be normal. Oh. Okay, and that should be it. At least I think so. I'm not 100% sure if I did this right, but okay. Wait. I think I did this right. So now let's exit out of this and run this again. Oh, whoops. Okay, I don't know why that's happening. Let me try new tab. Okay. Okay, let me try running this again. Okay, this is weird. I don't know why that's happening. Let's just use 1, 2, 3, 5, I guess, instead. And I'll just change this right over here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 5, I guess. Okay, and now I'll just run this. Okay, this is running correctly now. So, okay, so now this actually looks like a legitimate terminal right over here. And so this looks a lot better, and this, you'd almost think that you could use sudo here, though you can't actually use, yeah, you can't really use sudo here. So if I try doing sudo python 3, this won't work. The sudo is going to come on this end, and you're basically going to be stuck here. So basically you don't want to do this. So I could type this in because it's my machine, because this was, if this was a different server, I would not actually be able to do this. Did I type this correctly? I'm not sure. Okay. And so, okay, so this already is updated. The TCP connection was broken. But, so make sure you don't type in sudo or su, those will not work. And actually, what I could do to make this, your shell not get lost, is, so, okay, go up here. So if sudo or su in command, so what we could actually do is rev socket dot send. Okay, at first did I actually, okay, sudo and su are not supported, and that should be it. Think that this works. Okay. This is a bit, so there is a difference between this and this. Is a bit more bold. This is, I don't know if it's the exact same color, but this looks like a terminal enough now. So clear my screen, rerun this. Okay. And oh, and I actually forgot one thing. I can't keep on going. I should actually just continue. Okay. So now this is running. I could run this. Okay. So if I actually run sudo, oh, okay, that's a bit weird. Oh, okay, whoops. So this, I think, yeah. So encode this. So, and this should not encode is equal to true. I think that this should be about it. And let me just double check this for anything else which could be wrong here. So this looks about fine. This looks about fine as well. Okay. Okay, so this is actually not how bash okay, so this is not the error that bash returns. So if I try to cd into something random like this, say bash colon cd colon whatever directory you tried to cd in, no such file or directory. So this is pretty simple. We could actually implement this here, and we could do this, except we could substitute this with command 3 colon, which would be the directory, and oops, 3 colon, and make this an f string. Okay, I don't know what I did wrong. I think I may have messed something up there. Okay. Oh, okay, that's why. I'm gonna put this bracket here. So let's see if this actually works correctly. Okay, so now if I do sudo, okay, sudo and su are not supported. If I try running su, wow, so for some reason this is still executing. I don't know why. So if sudo or su, okay, wait, let me try this. Unless of course this worked and this, okay, so this is not working clearly. Yes, I did not actually get a prompt back there, which means that something went wrong here. Okay, this is a bit laggy. Okay, let me close this terminal. Okay, so Python 3 shadow shark payload.py, and I should get this listener ready here as well. Okay, so now if I run this, I hope that if I run su, okay, so this is still not working. I'm not quite sure why. Okay, so this, so sudo or su. That is really weird. So if I actually print this got here, to actually see where it's actually getting to and see potentially why this is not running correctly. Okay, so I am not really sure why this is not working correctly. Yeah, so it's still for some reason running the sudo command, su command. I am not 100% sure why, but it is. So I'm gonna try to fix that bug, and let's see. Yeah, so if either one of these are in the command, so this whole statement is true, then this should get here. I'm not sure why this is not working otherwise. Okay, and the same problem here. I'm not really sure why this is occurring, but I will just set this to 1, 2, 3, 4 instead. For whatever reason, I'm not actually 100% sure this error is occurring. Why this should. I haven't encountered this ever before, so I'm a bit confused about why this is happening. And no, if I actually run sudo, I get this back. If I run su, let's see if it actually prints. Okay, so it prints this got here, and it's sending this reverse socket. So I wonder, did it actually get here if I didn't have these brackets? I don't think it would get here if I didn't have this. Maybe it would. I don't think it would get here if I didn't have these brackets. But I mean, I guess maybe it would. Although I'm highly doubtful of this. Yeah, this terminal is glitching. I don't know why. Okay, so if I run su, I am not sure. Wait, oops. Yeah, so now it does not get there. So these brackets are needed because basically it's checking if this whole statement is true, and then based off of that, going on to executing whatever it needs to do. And so this should have continued. I am not sure. Okay, so yeah, I'm not really sure why this is not just continuing, and it's somehow executing the command. It should not be executing this command. So this is a little weird. I'm not really sure why this is happening. If anyone knows why this is happening, tell me in the comment section below. But I am unsure of why this is happening. This should not be happening. Maybe just something I'm not seeing at this time, and if I do find out why, I'll get back to you. But right now I don't really see why this is not working. But it is working with the sudo, so I guess it half works, although it doesn't really get the whole job done at the same time, so it's not really finishing the whole job, which is to make this work. So let's review over the new code for this. So basically it's using an f string here. It's doing the normal error, and it's going to substitute this with a directory, which would be the command from index 3 to the end, and then it'll say colon no file or directory. And so this is how this is working. Okay, so let's this okay. Oh, this terminal is glitching. So if I actually run cd something random, okay, so okay, cd can't see. Oh, okay. Wait, so what if I actually cd to... Okay, so this is actually saying this, and oh right, okay. So this works a bit differently with Bash, and I think just from the subprocess call you should be able to cd. Or I'm not sure. Maybe it's just I think this is a process call itself which is giving the error. So this is not required, I guess, but I haven't really made any payloads that are specific to any operating system. I've just made them work for really all of them, so I'm not really sure. This was not happening before. It would just default to this. So I try to cd into random. Okay, so it says cd can't cd to random. So I guess this does fixes everything for us anyway. So, and let me try just running SU again. I don't think this is gonna work. Yeah. So again, this is not working. I am not really sure why. I guess logically this should be working here. Nothing clearly wrong here, which would just flag and say, oh yeah, this is wrong, this is why this is not working. So I'm not really sure about this, but I guess that's just that. It could be the version of Python that I'm using. There's some bug in it. I'm not sure. But when I said continue, this should go all the way back to the start of this while loop and rerun all of this. So commands. So I reset the command here, and command is equal to command plus. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going wrong here. But then I guess that'll be it for today's video. So thank you for watching this video, and I will continue to make videos just like this one in the future.